So, does anyone wants to place any questions right now to any of the speakers?
I have a question to Andre.
A question to Andre. So, Andre,
Okay, so let's repeat.
I will pass the question to Sherry.
and you can repeat the
I'm not
question.
sure how relevant it will be, but when you were saying about, right at the end, about the transsexuals, and you said it can be people like this, like that, I have a question. I always, because I met one, after, how do you call it? I lost the name. People who are born with both sex.
Intersex.
Yeah, no, but there's a name, an old name.
Hermaphrodite.
Hermaphrodite, that's it.
It's not used anymore this time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I did not know.
That's why I didn't sit it. Yeah.
And I had a friend like that when I was in my 20s, and his parents forced him to be a boy because he can choose the sex when he's a baby. And turned out that he was a girl.
Yeah.
And he suffered a lot because of it.
Yeah,
bullying.
that's exactly the point with Dione. She said, when we have the surgeries given when the people is born, this cannot lead to their psychic condition.
Right.
So it can be a path of suffering. So the intersex community nowadays claim for regulation on this field, so they can wait till a point where the gender is defined, where the expression of gender is clear, in order for the intersex people to decide if they want or not that intervention in their body in accordance of their possibilities and the other things. Because a person can not want, for example, an intervention of its body.
Because he suffered a lot.
Yeah, so it's a source of gender dysphoria.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
I have a question for Andre.
Okay.
Andre, when this child that's born as a, let's say, as a boy with male organs and then decides to be a girl, when he gets to about 13, 14 years old, whatever it is, and then we decide to help him and block hormones and give him different hormones and all that. Is any medical repercussions in that? I mean, doesn't it have,
Yes.
is that a problem in the body?
This is the recent discussion. Hello. What? It was me? Maybe. Acho que eu desliguei.
Foi sem querer.
Okay. Sorry.
Repeat the question, Andre.
So he asked me if this trans boy or trans girl that defines as different gender, if he or she gets the adolescence and start to receive hormonal block therapy, is there any medical consequence of it? Yes, there is, and there is a field of discussions nowadays. How o quão cedo, how early people can receive an intervention. So the definition of the American Endocrine Society is to start when is the 32 stage of sexual development. What happens between 9 and 11 years old? It depends on the boy and on the girl. And after pass through a point of strong definition of the trans situation or the trans condition or the real identity of the people. I had an experience with that, very interesting, because we have kids with gender dysphoria, with identification with other sex, especially because of this binary gender establishment, that are not real trans people. And when they get older, this dysphoria disappears. So I have today one very close friend of mine, which is a psychologist, and I met her when she called me some years ago because she saw a lecture, and she told me, Andre, my daughter says that she is a boy and she wants to be called with a boy name. I'm a psychologist, I'm acceptable with my daughter, I love her, she's adopted, and I want to give her the best opportunity to grow in a safe and healthy environment. So she asked me, do you think I have to start the hormonal therapy? And so I said, and the girl was 7 years old, 6 or 7 years old. And so I said to her, no, wait a little bit. You have to let her grow and establish this a little bit, because there's a definition to where is the time to start the hormonal block therapy. But you can treat her as the way she wants to be treated. So you can allow herself to use men's clothes or to express the gender as she want. Or as he want. I start to say in the masculine pronoun. We need to use the pronoun which the person feels that the gender are, which is very difficult. When I'm saying, I confuse many times. And okay, she starts to call it her son, her daughter. At that point, she thought it was her son. With a masculine pronoun, with a masculine name, allow the girl to be. And then, when she got 7 to 8 years old, she completely changed. She started to want to be called the feminine pronoun, the feminine name, and so on. So, today, the point is exactly that. Is to redefine what level of gender dysphoria is, to have psychologists a follow-up, not because this is a disorder, but because we have to give people the condition to understand what really is going on. And we have the definitions of the medical establishment to when to start the hormonal block therapy or not. But one discussion is exactly for those who really need the hormonal block therapy, which is going to be the consequence with a long time. And this is not quite well determined.
Did you mean emotional or physical, like side effects?
Physical.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So
Yeah.
you meant side effects for the hormonal
Yeah,
therapy.
that's what I said. That's
there's
it's
no
not
clear-
already established because we do not have time to see what will be the consequence. João W. Neres, he describes many side effects he need to face. He used the hormonal therapy not at the adolescence, but when he was already the adult. And yes, there is. As many other conditions that we need. For example, women that are in the menopause and you want to and need to get hormones also have side effects and consequences. Women that use hormones to the anticonception has many side effects, has many dangers, including the risk of an embolism and so on. So whenever we take drugs, medical drugs, we have side effects.
Gary.
Gender is something that's so strong within ourselves that
Is the question for Sherry?
Yes. For me.
within ourselves that
Now repeat, please.
gender is something so strong within ourselves that even when we disincarnate, our perispirits is the perception of our last incarnation.
Yes.
Like I'll see myself as I am right now. So my question is,
It can be or not.
Yeah.
That's the point.
so when there's a transgender, like a trans man, a trans woman,
Is there a
how
consequence for the
he or she
perispirit?
perceive him or herself?
Okay, that's a good question.
Yeah, I'm not going to answer the question. I'm going to let Andre answer the question. But you know that's one of the biggest questions that I ask myself. when I discarnate, what am I going to be? I struggle with that daily because I don't know if I like being more on the gender or on the female gender or on the male gender. I know I had many lives as a man. Do you have any doubt about that?
No.
No. Okay, so I'm not quite sure what would I prefer. You know what I mean? So it does not mean that because I am in a female body right now, when I discarnate, I'm going to identify
And does it
my
matter?
periods. It doesn't matter. I don't know. I don't know. Why am I worried about that, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because we must define something, no?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I want to say worried
Come on.
about it because gender is embodied. It's preoccupying. It's preoccupying. It's within the male, female body. You're in the binary.
I'm in the binary.
You're very in the
I'm
binary.
trying to get out of it.
Yeah, you are not queer.
I'm trying
you
to
are
go
not
to the
queer.
androgynous side of life.
Yeah. You think you are queer, but you are not. You are in the binary.
I'll let the labeling for you.
Binary.
Okay.
What's a
Binary is male, female, the gender.
No.
A moment, let me answer her. So she asked if someone defines as transsexual, for example, and thinks the other gender, how it's gonna be at the spiritual realm when it disincarnates, isn't it? So, what defines the form of our astral body, of our perispirit, is the mental body. So, it's what we think about ourselves that defines. So, a person who feels themselves as a man, they naturally will have a mental, a masculine body, or a body that expresses the gender, or can be a different expression of gender, you know? But I think that one person that is transsexual really is transsexual when this person leaves the body, for example, during
The sleeping?
é desdobramento, como é que chama?
O quê?
Desdobramento.
Out of the body.
Out of the body experience.
When people have out of body experience during the night, so I think that these people have the expression of their psychic and not the expression of their material body, because it's not the material body that defines, it's the expression of the mental body. So André Luiz tells an example of this in the book Liberation. He describes a woman which is a very beautiful and rich woman of the society, always with a good appearance, but when she leaves the body during the night, her appearance is like the witch, is like a witch. She is as terrible as the witch of our mythology, because her mental body was such concentrate on evil things that she produced an astral body disturbed by her psychic. So our astral body is the consequence of what we think about ourselves. Okay?
All right, one more question. Anyone?
The cameraman.
Else you.
Yeah, the thing is that the spirit itself has no sex, right?
Yeah.
Then the sexual orientation is what the person is attracted to,
Yeah.
right? And so then the actual definition of what you are as a man or as a woman is your genitalia, right?
No.
No?
No, it's exactly the opposite. It's not the body that defines your gender. It's your social construction that defines your gender. It's what you think, what you feel about yourself, what you express that construct your gender. So male or female are social constructions. The biological sex plays a role in this field, but not defines. So a man can be born biologically woman, but he feels himself as a man and it's a trans man. Or it can be a biological man with a different identity. For example, it can feel that he is a male, female, both or neither. So this is the queer concept. So the concept of gender is not defined only by sex, and that's I think one of the most important things to get to know. For example, from one argument that we heard a lot about homosexuality is if someone is born male, so he should live as a male. So he should love a woman, he should marry and establish a family. So this is a very strict concept of gender. So if someone is biologically male and the behavior of a male is this behavior that is Western established for a male because it's different on the Eastern society, isn't it? So this is the concept that our society is under construction and under innovation. That's what the LGBTQE community is fighting to change and has a good experience sharing this things. That's what Sherry told us about. Do you want to say something? No? Yes, you want.
Just that, I think that question speaks to how we organize in our psyches social relations and individual identities. So that yes, sexual orientation and gender are they're not the same. But sexual orientation involves gender, right? Because the definition of sexual orientation is what gender you're attracted to. So it's very much psychically interwoven in different ways.
Yeah.
And so it's not that it's
But
not there aren't connections
by the biological.
exactly.
Yeah.
But I think that sometimes there are certain questions that come from the entanglement
Yeah.
of it, kind of
Yeah, yeah.
along the lines of the history.
Yeah.
The thing is that I think Time last week
Come on,
had
Sharon.
an article about a man who was pregnant.
Yeah.
So, but in my mind,
It's a trans man.
yeah, it's a trans man. But then he's not a man because he has a womb. He has
Yes.
a man cannot have a child
Why not?
Naturally,
because he
no.
doesn't have the physical.
Yes, it can have it.
Conditions to have.
He can have it. That's the point. The male, the masculinity is not defined. The male gender is not defined only by biological signs. So we have some men that were not born men, biologically men. They were born like women, but the gender is defined by biologically integrated to psychic. And so it's the psychic identity that shows what is the real sex of that person. So to be a man, it's not to have a masculine body, it's to feel that you are a man. So the trans men that have the masculine identity, they are men as well. So yes, we can have men with uterus.
No.
Yes, we can have men with vagina, for example. If a trans man has not changed, has not made his transition, yes, we can have a man with uterus, a man with vagina, a man with breast, for example. And this.
But all of this is made up through medicines and all. But a man's body, physical in this planet, is impossible to be pregnant. Only a woman who transgended into a man. Yes, then the man.
Yeah.
But it's not
So
a
you see the difficult.
real
Yeah.
body, man body.
So this is the struggle of the trans community, is to be accepted as man and as a woman in spite of the biological sex they were born. So that's the most important concept to get to know. A man and a woman is not defined by the biological. So when we say no, you can never have a man pregnant, you are defining that a man is defined by the biological sex, and it's not. That's the question. That's the point that we want to present today, because it's what we have in our society. So yes, we can have a trans man is not less man than a man that was born in a biological male body, you know?
Let me just, we're not going to have more time right now because I really don't want to run behind too much. But we can continue to talk. We have like 45 minutes now to eat. We can talk. We can consult with each other. I think one of... Yeah, the panel at the end, we're going to have more time. I think one thing that it's important for us to just summarizing is what they are talking about is they're talking about the definition of the identity of male or female as an immortal spirit. So what defines the male or female is not the biological body. Stay with me for another minute, please. So it's not the biological body. The world, our society, and that's what's so difficult for us to understand, is that from the material perspective, gender is defined heavily by the biological presentation. But material is not real. It's temporary. It's a clothing. So the true gender identity resides on the mind, on the psychic, on the spirit. So you can be in a female body, but your true identity is male because the spirit identifies itself with its experiences. And what we are challenging here is, are we going, as we move forward into the era of spirit, in the era of regeneration, are we going to continue to define our lives, our sexuality, and our values by the material paradigm or by the spiritual paradigm? Have a good lunch.